Hello, my dear students. How are you? I hope that everything's good to go. Espero que todo esté bien. It has been raining a lot. Ha estado lloviendo mucho. So, please be careful. Por favor, tengan cuidado. Y en esta hermosa y bella tarde, pues quiero eh, presentarles la clase ya formalmente y como voy a estarlo haciendo, quiero grabarles un video por día y que cada día ustedes puedan ver un video diferente. Por ejemplo, la primera clase, ver este video y en la próxima clase ver otro video. Bien, puede ser que yo grabe el otro video hoy mismo, quizás por eso me vean con la misma ropa o algo. Así que ya ustedes saben. Blessed Weekly Lesson Plan. Theme, Narrative, Control, Conditionals and Real Communications. ¿Ok? Esto es la narrativa, el control, los condicionales y comunicación real. Bien. Eh, this version includes advanced structure. Esta versión incluye estructuras avanzadas, contractions, natural speech, que son la comunicación natural, y también quantifiers, plus frequency adverbs integrated. Okay? Adjectives, detail expansion, more sentences, control repetition, 7 extra questions per day, mini conversation, 5 turns for the teacher and 5 turns for the student, positive and negative affirmations, question and answers, ordinal connectors, first, secondly, finally. Right? So this is the presentation for the class. On Monday, we're going to have the topic. This topic is going to be past continuous, advanced use, plus description depth. Right? Grammar, the grammar is this. We're going to be checking on affirmative. Subject plus was, where. Okay, that's the structure. The subject pronoun, and then was or where. Depending on the subject pronoun, we're going to be using was or where. Then we're going to be using also the verb plus ing at the end. Negative. Subject plus was where, and then you put not. Not. And the verb plus ing. I'm going to give you the example because this is just the structure. Okay? All right. So these are the examples. I was constantly studying. I was constantly studying. Yo estaba constantemente estudiando. She was not really paying attention. She was not really paying attention. Okay? Ella no estaba prestando atención realmente. Sentences. I was quietly working on an important project last night. I was quietly working on an important project last night. I want to stress that please try to pronounce these sentences several times. Don't pronounce it just once and just forget about it. No, pronounce it several times, and then you are going to see how your speech is going to be improving. I was quietly working on an important project last night. I was quietly working on an important project last night. She was constantly checking her phone during the meeting. Let's repeat it. She was constantly checking her phone during the meeting. She was constantly checking her phone during the meeting. Let's go to the next sentence. We were feeling extremely tired after the long day. We were feeling extremely tired after the long day. All right. So this expresses feeling, and you for example, when you see the construction, you put the subject pronoun is we, then you put where, right? Where, because that's the past tense for the verb to be, right? Where, and then feeling. So that's the way you're going to be constructing the past continuous. Extremely, extremely expresses how you felt, right? What is the amount of feeling that you have? Extremely tired, right? And you can use feeling tired. Extremely, you can take it off, right? You can say we were feeling tired, but extremely, enhances and put it bigger than it was. So it is feeling tired after after the long day, right? And the next sentence is going to be this one. They weren't paying much attention to the detailed instructions. We weren't paying much attention to the detailed instructions, right? So you see that here, detailed is in past participle, right? Is hado, ido, soto, yo in Spanish. So detallado, detailed. So that's why you end it this way, and you do not pronounce the E at the end. So the LED at the end is not pronounced. Remember the rule for TED and DED. Presented, reacted, detected, are, intended, so on and so forth. So those are the only ones that you should pronounce BED or TED. In this case, LED is not pronounced, so that's why you say detailed instructions. All right, so let's continue with the last one for that group is I was usually studying at that time of night. I was usually studying at that time of night. Yo estaba usualmente estudiando. Usually se pone en el medio. In between was and studying. If you want, you can take off usually and say I was studying at that time of night. But usually expresses that you were not studying once, but several times, right? And it could be that it's not in a sequence. It could be like skipping days or times, all right? So let's continue to the Monday practice. Monday practice. We have examples, repetitions, questions, and answers. For example, I was working at 8 p.m. I was working at 8 p.m. So we continue to use the continuous, the past continuous times, right? Continuous tenses. So we are going to express that we were working at 8 p.m. So it's continuous. Yo estaba trabajando a las 8 de la noche. They were playing soccer. They were playing soccer. Ellos estaban jugando fútbol, balompié, right? They were playing soccer. He was not listening. He was not listening. So it expresses an action that is continuous, but it was in the past tense, right? So don't forget about it. Repetition practice. I was always studying. I was always studying. I was not always studying. I was not. I wasn't really studying. I wasn't really studying. She was constantly she was constantly eating. She was constantly eating. She was not really eating. She was not really eating. All right? So let's go to questions and answers. Short. Were you really studying? Were you really studying? Yes, I was. No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't. Were you really studying? No, I wasn't. Yes, I was. So these are short answers, right? So let's go to the long answer. Long. Were you studying at 8 p.m.? Were you studying? Was he? Was she? Was it? Right? Were you? Was I? Were we? Were they studying at 8 p.m.? Yes, I was studying at 8 p.m. Don't forget to say studying, right? Stop. It's not but studying. Studying at 8 p.m. No, I wasn't. No, I was not studying at 8 p.m. I was actually playing video games. I was actually playing video games. So I don't recommend you to do that. If you have to study, study. Don't play video games when you have to study, right? Very good. Affirmations, positive. I was actively working on several complex tasks. I was actively working on several complex tasks, right? I was actively working on several complex tasks. 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 Okay? So we have to say task or tasks. That's the plural and the singular. Singular, task. Plural, tasks. Okay? I was actively working on several complex tasks. She was carefully analyzing the situation. She was carefully analyzing the situation. Negative. Negative. I wasn't fully understanding the instructions. I was not fully understanding the instructions. I was not. I wasn't. I was not. I wasn't fully understanding the instructions. Let's go to the next one. They weren't seriously considering the consequences. They weren't seriously considering the consequences. They weren't considering the consequences. But seriously adds a little bit of, a touch of seriousness to this question, to this particular affirmation in this case. Sorry. So they weren't seriously considering the consequences. We have extra points here, extra questions. Let's go to the extra questions. What were you doing yesterday at 7 p.m.? What were you doing yesterday at 7 p.m.? Were you actually watching TV last night? Were you actually watching TV last night? Who was studying with you? Who was studying with you? Were you actually focusing on the lesson? Were you actually focusing on the lesson? Was she trying to solve the problem? Was she trying to solve the problem? All right, so we have a conversation here. This conversation is going to be between you and me. So please, when I say my part, you should say your part, okay? In this case, I let me see, because you're going to be using your device. In this case, what we are going to do, as you're watching this video, we're going to do it live. So you're going to do it with the teacher, and then this part is going to be done with the teacher, the conversation teacher student. Okay, so do it with the teacher and live with me, right? Because at this moment it's not possible to be done as you're watching this video. All that is for Monday. Okay, Tuesday we have topic advanced questions, natural speech. Advanced questions in natural speech. Okay, so the grammar is was, where, subject and verb, and then ing. All right, so it's going to be where you starting, where you starting. It's very simple to talk about the past continuous, because you're going to say, for example, where you starting, where you starting, okay, where you starting, estabas estudiando, okay. So it's very simple to ask a question in past continuous, okay. Examples, repetitions, questions, and answers. And I'm sorry, I feel a little bit sick because I had a little bit of flu, but I'm making a big effort in order to create this video. So I'm sorry if you hear me this way. But continuing examples: was she working? Was she working? Were they playing? Let's repeat: was she working? Were they playing? All right. Answers: yes, she was. No, she wasn't. Yes, they were. No, they weren't. All right. Repetition practice. Let's prepare. Let's get ready. Let's do this. Vamos. Vamos a hacer esto juntos. Let's go. Let's do this. All right. Was he sleeping? Yes, he was. Very good. Were you eating? No, I wasn't. Were you really doing this? Yes, I was. Was she always arguing? No, she wasn't. Affirmations. Let's go to affirmations. Positive. I was clearly understanding the explanation. I was clearly, okay? Clearly understanding the explanation. All right? They were actively participating in class. They were actively participating in class. Let's repeat. I was clearly understanding the explanation. Very good. They were actively participating in class. Very good. Negative. I wasn't properly following the instructions. I wasn't properly following the instructions. She wasn't fully cooperating. She wasn't fully cooperating. All right, let's go to the next one. Were you working yesterday? Were you working yesterday? Yes, I was. No, I wasn't. Was your mother cooking? Was your mother cooking? No, she wasn't. Yes, she was. Very good. Were your friends studying? Were your friends studying? No, they weren't. Yes, they were. Were you honestly trying your best? Were you honestly trying your best? Yes, I was. No, I wasn't. Was he constantly complaining? Was he constantly complaining? No, he wasn't. Yes, he was. All right. Yes, I was trying my best. So that's one of the answers. Yes, I was trying my best. No, I wasn't putting enough effort. No, I wasn't putting enough effort. Let's go to the extra questions of on Tuesday. Vamos a irnos a las preguntas extra del martes. Were you asking enough questions? Were you asking enough questions? No, I wasn't. Yes, I was. Was the lesson interesting? Was the lesson interesting? Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Were you feeling motivated? Were you feeling motivated? No, I wasn't. Yes, I was. Were you improving gradually? Were you improving gradually? Yes, I was. Yes, I was improving gradually. Was the activity useful? Was the activity useful? Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Were you collaborating with others? Were you collaborating with others? Yes, I was. No, I wasn't. Was the teacher speaking clearly? Was the teacher speaking clearly? Yes, he was. No, he wasn't. All right, teacher. Okay, there's another conversation for Tuesday. That conversation is the one that we're going to have either Monday or Tuesday. So not to worry, we're going to have the conversation later on. And check on the tips. For example, we have the tips for Bless. Don't forget to visit our Bless WhatsApp community and practice daily. That's for Tuesday, okay? And also we have another tip for Monday. Monday is going to be, bear with me just 1 second. So on Monday, refer a friend and get a discount on your next payment. Keep growing with Blessed. Okay. So don't forget about those tips. I would like you to help me with that. It's a help. I'm asking you for help, and I know that you're going to help. All right. So Wednesday, I think that we're going to be finishing this recording here. Your teacher, I am going to be talking to you. I'm going to be talking and having a conversation and explaining more about this class. And maybe we see another video. Maybe we are going to be continuing with this past continuous in this case, or we are going to have a checkpoint, let's say, for past weeks, right? So we're going to be checking the past tense, the past simple, and also the past perfect, okay, and the present perfect are important tenses that we need to pay attention to. And this one, the past continuous. Thank you so much. Remember that the past continuous is the same as the past progressive, so it's the same. And we're going to be checking on this, and then we're going to pass to the other conditionals, the zero conditional, first conditional, second conditional, third conditional, and mixed conditional. So thank you so much for attending this class, and I wish you have a great one. Be blessed.